everyone. Very soon we are going to get joined by Sudakshina Bhattacharya. Sudakshina Bhattacharya is the CHRO of HDFC ERGO, and she is going to join here again and start our first ever girl talk. So I was very excited to see you, Sudakshina, here. And I know I have met with you online so many times, and your words are very inspiring always. So, and we have been talking about how you made your journey all the way up to the top level of a very good big insurance company, HDFC ERGO right now, and you are the CHRO over there. You're handling so many people, a big team. You're hiring leadership over there. How this journey came into being? I want to hear it all right from the beginning.
First of all, thanks once again, Iti. And it's a very different feeling to be able to reflect on where one started. And when I got the question, I was like, okay. So it's a humble beginning, really. Like a lot of people had back then started their careers with, very predictive model of, doing something to be financially independent and finding, a place to express and grow and stuff like that. So I think it was not so much about a choice of profession, really. So it was very predictive model, and I followed the same. So, typically your education, and then you go and get your first job and stuff. But I think I was very naive when I got my first job, and I don't know whether I had any of those aspirations to become a CHRO or something like that. I mean, one incident I remember very clearly when I was doing my MBA, I wanted to do marketing because I thought, people who do marketing roles, it's a very exciting job to do. It's glamorous and, it's creative and, and all of that. And I remember when we went to the counseling at the MBA college, the counselor, who was quite an elderly gentleman, he said, you know what, Sudakshina, I don't think you should take marketing because, after a certain age, it's going to become very difficult for you to do sales job because marketing is usually sales job. So I think you should take HR. And so I was a little upset. I was a little sad thinking, oh, I can't do marketing and not allowed to do HR. But never mind. But also I had read about HR, what HR professionals do. So yeah, so that's how it really happened. But what was more exciting than this? So this was one thing which was very stereotypical to say, and he meant well for me. He was a well-wisher to have given me that advice. Today, nobody will give because then the person will be judged. But back then, there was nothing like judging somebody and stuff like that. So, but thereafter is the most exciting part. Like, moving from an organization to another, working with different sets of people. The interesting part is that during the journey, I never felt about gender that way. Like, it's not like a woman is coming to office. Or at least in the initial, few years, it wasn't like, the workplace, it made me feel like, okay, I'm a woman who's like walking into office and there are males. Yeah. And now I feel it's great that these conversations have started about, equal representation and, equal opportunities for all genders. And also look at, especially in our country, where the awareness of, even look at, how many girls are forced to drop out of schools or colleges because of various reasons. So I think for us to be able to come to an equal world, we'll have to focus more on women in every aspect. So I think the narrative is that way. I feel that the narrative is quite there. But yes, of course, not compromising in any way because, all of us today, you and I are having a chat. It is also because we've all had men in our lives, whether our father, brother, sibling, spouse, whoever has been encouraging and have been believing of what our potential is. And that's why you and I are having this chat today. So I think it's also important to recognize the encouraging and supporting role, sometimes even leading roles that they play in our lives to make us who we are.
Perfect. Absolutely. Very well said, Sudakshina. And when you were pointing out, stating that when you started your journey, you never thought that it's a woman who's starting up and woman who's going to the office, etc. Were there any incidences really from your life that made you realize, okay, man's world is different and women coming to office is actually different? And what made you such a believer in a DNI and a believer in inclusivity?
Uh, so first of all, I think actually I feel, it's not think, it's more about feeling that anybody, whether it is a male colleague or a female colleague, if there is a restriction in being able to express oneself in a workplace, then it's not an inclusive workplace. If I don't feel safe, gender agnostic again, if I don't feel safe to be able to express who I really am in the workplace, then it's not an inclusive workplace. Because you are different, I am different. So many of our audience today who have joined, we are all different individuals, right? And which means there is diversity diversity is at the core of everything that the world is. Diversity of thought, diversity of skills, diversity of gender, diversity of abilities, diversity of ethnicity, and so on and so forth. So first things first, I think it's important to say that, how inclusive is an ecosystem, how safe psychologically and otherwise this is an ecosystem where people can be who they are. Now, if one is comfortable talking about gender, then gender. If one is comfortable talking about, thoughts, then thoughts. If one is comfortable demonstrating skills, then skills, and so on and so forth. Color, ethnicity, everything put together. Little more about women. Why? Because of the last so many decades where women education have got compromised, and thereby the opportunities did not come to them. Or even if they came, they probably were not in a position to embrace. And so to fulfill that shortfall that has kind of gotten created, I'm not getting into the reasons why, but it has gotten created. So to be able to kind of somewhere, it's more about equitable than equal. Somebody who has gotten less needs to be given a little more now so that the world can be equal, so that the ecosystem will have equal opportunities. And that's what I feel that why I'm so, I really believe that, we have to truly make an inclusive world. Say, bole ke liye nahi. It's not like, it's a priority, to humne bol diya inclusive world. But what does it mean? Like, it could even be somebody who lives very far from the office. Doesn't matter gender. Somebody who lives very far from office. And there is a way that one can be given an opportunity to work from another office which is closer to that person's home.
Right.
So these things are important, and that's how we make an inclusive world, an equitable world. And similarly for a woman, right? Say a new mother. If there's a flexibility at work for a new mother to be able to either work from home or to work from an office which is closer home, then she can really prioritize her personal commitments and her personal duties better. And she'll be more productive at work also that way.
Totally. I think the most productivity comes out when somebody is pregnant or somebody becomes a mother. I completely believe in that. And what your words are, I think Womentastic is completely resounding with what you are talking about. We have built this platform to make women more financially independent. Sadly, and unfortunately, but the numbers are pretty skewed towards right now the other gender right now, and women are very less in workforce. We want to ensure that more women should be part of the workforce. So I want to hear from you, Ms Sudakshina, that HDFC ERGO, you are making the world more inclusive, you're making your office more inclusive right now. What are the things that you are doing from your perspective as a leader to make women come back to work, and how do you encourage them?
So there are actually three pivots to it. First is that we want to provide more opportunities for women when they want to start their career or when they want to join us. So one of the fundamental decisions that we've taken in our organization is that all being equal, we will want to invite the woman candidate to join us, all being equal. So that way we'll make it more equitable. Secondly, we've also launched to balance gender. We've launched something called a Revive. Revive is a return to work. So, women or men who have taken a break from working for some time. We want to welcome them back because we want to create an ecosystem like that. And just to fall back on, so, like there's one policy is to welcome and the other is to create the ecosystem, whether it's through policies, whether it's through infrastructure. Like in my previous company, I've done something which I also have now proposed here and we soon shall be implementing, is that, there are parking lots for all organizations, right? There are parking spaces. So I remember one thing that really worked very beautifully in my previous company, that we said, any pregnant lady who is driving or is being driven by a driver, let the closest to exit parking lots be given to them. It's a small thing, but it's a very important thing.
Absolutely.
And things like these, or, what can we do to make the way to the restroom a little more friendly for an advanced pregnant lady? Because it's important to appreciate that even one step that the lady is taking, it's difficult for her at that point of time. So things like these, what are the kind of conversation that the organization does in terms of breastfeeding, for instance? I had a colleague a few years ago. She had a premature delivery, and then, that time the maternity leave was not 6 months, it was 3 months, and she had to get back to work because of financial commitments. You won't believe, Iti, her mother-in-law used to bring their little baby in an auto rickshaw to the office, and she would look for a, quiet, private corner to feed her baby. So when one witnesses or when one comes to know of these kind of struggles, it is difficult to look the other way. And I feel compelled, and not just as a woman, but but as a human being, that, how can if I'm in a position where I can influence the organization to create some of these, to include some of these important elements in workplace to make life a little easier for people, then why not?
Wow. An absolutely amazing thought, and as a leader that you are speaking that leadership. It really comes out so well when you are speaking about very minute things, very sensitive things that you're talking about over here. How was your journey overall as a woman and as a starting from just manager to all the way up to becoming a HR leader? I think, and what are the right things that you were able to, and what are the obstacles that you faced and how you overcame it? That is something that all our viewers would love to listen.
So let me tell you, obstacles are in perception.
Yeah.
So I think that's a bigger fight. Like, she's so ambitious. And I'm I've been a private person. I've been a person who likes to be by herself. And sometimes these things can be construed as somebody who's a snob, or she doesn't really mix around with anyone. But if you mix around too much with people, then she's pretty easygoing. I mean, that's also not the best. So where does one go? So I'm saying, and people don't talk about these things on the face. It's that, it's the vibe around. I think that's the biggest challenge, Iti. Somebody tells on your face that I don't like this about you, or why are you like this? You can tell the person, listen, that's not who I am, but maybe you have perceived me wrong. But the worry is that nobody, and even women, I'm not saying men, but even women, they don't come and talk about it, right?
Correct.
Nobody's going to say on the face. But then you walk into the washroom and you suddenly see that people are like mobbing, and you can feel the vibe. Then what do you say? You can't tell them, listen, don't talk about me like this, and I'm not this monster, or I'm not whatever. I worked my way up here. It's out of merit, and if I may say, I mean, obviously when I changed a job from one job to the other, or the number of jobs that I've changed, I'm sure each time there was a counterpart who was a female or a male, right, as a competitive candidate. And something the employer must have seen to be able to make me that offer and make me, and I joined the organization. So right. Obviously at those stages of competition, those spaces of competition, one must have scored a little higher, and that's why one is. And that can't be just because I'm a woman. It can't, right? So why is it difficult to then give credit to a person saying that, there must have been something that, but as I said, along the way, I've had tremendous support from various quarters. I mean, I come from a family where I know in India, a lot of people say that we grew up differently and, as a girl child. I don't have any such memories. I mean, I pretty much did that, and that credit goes to my parents. As I said, that ecosystem, I mean, now I'm glad that the conversations are happening. And like they say, I read somewhere that not all experiences have to be your own. But if you're observant, you will see the struggle that other people face. So I've seen people being compromised. I've witnessed in organizations where a male colleague has been preferred over a female colleague. Have I faced it? No, I haven't faced it directly. But have I witnessed it? Yes, of course I have. And hence, when you come to one is blessed enough to be in a position of influence, then you think that, what, I couldn't do something then, but can I do something now so that it doesn't happen to anyone else? So that is where my conviction to really make it an inclusive and equitable workplace comes from.
Clearly. And we could see that as well. Now that you were talking about it, I could feel that how somebody has to move up. And you very rightly said, it is not just men and women, it is the merit that brings you up. And it has to be. Somewhere I also feel that women also pull themselves down, and when it comes to leaving their careers first or leaving their jobs first or studies first, they're the first one to jump out and make that big grand sacrifice. Does that ever occur to you, or some instances that you can talk about? You have been into HR, probably you can talk about such instances that would have happened in your life.
So I remember a conversation with a few people who had just gotten promoted. So I'm just going to share the anecdote. So I'm talking to a male colleague who's got promoted, and the language of the male colleague is, "Oh, you know what? I just deserve it, and I'm happy that finally the organization has recognized my potential and I've been promoted. Great, congratulations, and you really deserve it." That's the language of the male colleague who's got promoted. And here's my conversation with a female colleague. I'm so grateful that I've got this opportunity. I think I'm going to work doubly hard to make sure that the organization has taken the right decision by promoting. That's the conversation. That's the language of a female colleague. And you know what, Iti? There lies the difference. As women, we always feel that, I think we tend to feel that all that is happening around us is somewhere, like, did we ever wonder or did we ever think that all this is something that we deserve? And that's why there's always wonder that, oh wow, it's come my way. Can we start believing that we deserve? I mean, if we have worked hard and if we had contributed meaningfully, then we deserve to be where one is. But so that's what it is.
Correct. And we keep on talking about it, that yes, we deserve better, we need that space, we need to go up and build our careers, etc., etc. But somewhere I feel that there enough motivation has to come in from the ecosystem also that is building us up. From the minute we start our lives, our journey, if that ecosystem is created with families, with friends, etc., supporting us at irregular intervals of life, that will also bring a difference. What do you think?
Absolutely, Iti. So, I mean, I believe that what we send out is what we receive. Now, just to explain this a little more, if I'm sending out an emotion of scarcity that, I don't deserve or I'm not supported, then the universe multiplies it, 5-10 times and gives it back to us. So imagine if I just change that and I start saying that, what, I deserve this, or I'm getting, so much more, or I'm getting all the support from the people, the ecosystem, then it will probably get multiplied and it will come to me. The crux of what I'm trying to say is that often we as women ourselves are the ones who are standing in between what we deserve and what we want and what we eventually get. So if we ourselves can break that in our own mind, heart, eyes, wherever there is a barrier, if we ourselves can break it and truly embody saying that, I mean, I have a supportive ecosystem and, I deserve to be supported and I want to be supported. I doubt if, we will be found wanting. We will have the support. So that is my only, if I may, and I stay away from the words as advice and whatever. But if there's only one thing that we need to change is the lens with which we look at ourselves.
Absolutely. So Sudakshina, I'm going little away from the topic, and I know that you told me that Sudakshina is a very secretive person. But what was Sudakshina as a child? I would love to know that. And now today, you have already achieved so much. What would you tell a very very young Sudakshina as Sudakshina now?
First thing that I would tell the younger Sudakshina is that be confident of who you are. I think that's the most important thing. Our environments play such a big role in who we become, and especially in the formative and in the impressionable years. Those are the things that kind of come in between becoming confident. So which means that, one grows up thinking that, oh, I'm not as capable, or, oh, I don't know whether I deserve it. And there lies all the problems. So I think so I would go back and tell my younger self, just be confident and be happy with, how you look and what you are, what you're able to work. Like, just to give you an example, so I have a freckled face, and I remember I struggled like through my teens thinking that, oh, I don't have a clear skin. Now, how do you explain this to anybody? You don't, and it's not like you can have this conversation. I mean, today I can have this conversation, but not back then. But if I were to, if I could turn the clock back, then I would tell that Sudakshina of the teens that, listen, it really doesn't matter, because, I mean, just be who you are. And today I can say that when that shift happened in me, and when I started to truly embrace the person that I am, that's when the world started embracing me back. And that's my learning, that I'm sharing it without any filter, on your show.
Great. So listeners, if you are listening to this, please do follow what she's talking about. Be confident of yourself. I think every moment that you're embracing and doing that self-love that is required, that is where you're making all the difference. That's amazing and very, very wonderful to hear you, Sudakshina. I would also like you to talk about all your listeners who would like to take few tips from you to understand how they can move up the career ladder, how they can reach to the top or break the glass ceiling. What are the advices that you can give to our listeners?
Iti, I can only draw from what I have experienced and what has worked for me. So I know it sounds very cliche, but let me tell you, even after having worked for nearly 2 decades, there's no replication to hard work. And Iti, you are an entrepreneur, and you've created your outfit, and I'm sure you'll second this, that there is no replication to hard work.
There's no shortcuts, absolutely.
At the end of the day, people will acknowledge, even if everything else is not acknowledged, but this will be visible in the output. An output which is out of hard work can never be compromised. That is number one. Number two, honesty. Again, I know these are basic things, but ये आजकल इतनी basic नहीं है, इसलिए लोगों को बताना पड़ता है. लोग सोचते हैं कि चलो थोड़ा shortcut कर लेते हैं या कुछ कर लेते हैं and stuff like that. But that doesn't work. It'll catch up and it'll show up. If there is dishonesty, it'll show up. So honesty, build trust in any relationship, any ecosystem. Even now that I'm talking to you and to your audience on an Insta Live, there is an element of honesty. It takes courage to say that, I've struggled with A, B, C, D things. So honesty is important because that helps to really develop deeper connection. When you have deeper connections with people whom you work with, you know that you'll be able to influence and inspire much better. So hard work, honesty, true, honest, deeper connections with people will never go wrong. Will never go wrong.
Again, a wonderful tip again. I think be it corporate life or entrepreneurship, anything that you are leading, it has to be honest, it has to be ethical, and it goes long way for you, and it stays with you, it becomes you. So Sudakshina, what are the 3 words that very well describe you?
Resilient.
Okay.
Perseverant.
Perseverant, resilient.
Curious.
That's very interesting, extremely interesting. Great having a wonderful conversation so far with you, Sudakshina. And we have a platform called Womentastic right now, and we are building this up to make more women financially independent. What are your few words about us that you can talk about and let us know that how we can better this platform and go ahead with it?
First of all, Iti, congratulations for building this up. If there is one thing that I want to tell young girls is that don't compromise financial independence for anything. Because the importance of financial independence is realized over a period of time.
Absolutely.
And that is the best investment that we as women can do in ourselves. So the younger, so hence, and truly so, I'm grateful that you've started a platform where you will be talking about the importance of becoming financially independent to girls and women. This is unique, and I'm sure you're going to get a lot of blessings from a lot of women, who wanted to be financially independent but didn't know how. And even now, if somebody wants to make a start at any age or stage of life, they can come to Womentastic and make a beginning. And isn't that so noble? That is what all about D&I, equitable world, and a world where everybody can have an equal share of goodness, an equal share of luxury, or equal share of all the good that the world has. So financially independent is a non-negotiable in anyone's life, and I'm so glad that you started this.
And trust me, when you're talking, I feel as if my father is talking through it, because he's one person who made me think and, become what I am today. And he keeps talking about being financially independent all his life. He's got 3 daughters. And all he talks about is that all his 3 daughters should be financially independent. That's what he wants from us. That's what the education would further, convert to. So that's extremely important. And we are trying our best, Sudakshina, to provide a wonderful platform where you can fundraise, you can talk about ideas, get inspiration, find a mentor. And you are coming up as a mentor for us as well very shortly on Womentastic. So all you people who are looking forward to connect with Sudakshina, you have a fantastic platform called as Womentastic where you can find Sudakshina. So
all the people who are listening to us today, Iti, whether they are live or when they will listen to us later, my request will be that please do experience a Womentastic platform. You never know what opportunities open up for you.
Absolutely, absolutely correct. Thank you so much for spending time. I know there was a tech glitch in the beginning, but everything goes well and ends well. It is a happy moment. That's how I would take it up. And you have been a great inspiration for all of us, Sudakshina. And I always look up to you and keep on reading your profile and seeing that, oh my God, she's done so many things already in her life. And it's really exciting to have you here on a Girls Talk, where we are changing the stereotype, where we are making a difference in the whole outlook of girls and changing those bias lenses now. So it's amazing to have you. Thank you so much for sharing your inspirational words. Thank you so much for inspiring so many women who are looking up to you and who would love to follow you, who would love to become Sudakshina. So we know now that what was Sudakshina as a small baby and now what she has become. And we'll keep on talking to you and getting you here again.
Thank you so much. Like they say that it takes one to build the other. And the fact that you had so many good things to talk about me, which is another woman, that's fresh. And that's a start. Let all of us as women grow our tribe, and let's make sure that we are building each other up. We're helping each other to build, whatever that we dream of making. So it's really wonderful, and thank you so much for having me here.
Thank you so much for being here. That's what Girls Talk is all about. So See you soon for the next
Bye-bye.
Girls Talk Short
Yep.
Live.
Bye.
Bye. See you.